Hello, here we are starting chapter 3. And chapter 3 is linear functions, which I wrote at the top of the page. I kind of spelled linear, well, spelled it right, but kind of wrote it in a dorky way. And the point that I really want to make is that the word line isn't linear. So whenever they're using the word linear, it's talking about a straight line. And this whole chapter then is all going to be about lines. Different types of equations for lines, graphing lines, arithmetic sequences, which if you would connect all the points form a straight line, and so on. 3.1 then, the first section is constant increase or decrease. And it's just a brief introduction, and it's actually a repeat of stuff that you've already done, so it should be a pretty nice section to do. First thing is we go back to the line equation that if you know multiple ones, you're probably most comfortable with this. And it's the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. And like I said before, the name is the slope-intercept form, and the reason is you have your variables, x and y, but the other things in there, m is the slope, and b is the y-intercept. Or in layman's terms, that was going to be the number where the graph crosses the y-axis. And that's this first part of 3.1. I want to go through then and really just do a couple examples, but I probably should say a little bit more about the y-intercept. The y-intercept, what that really is going to be the starting amount, or the book will refer to it as the initial condition. And if you think of like your initials, it's the first letter of your first, middle, and last name. So initial condition is the initial condition, the starting amount. So that's kind of the layman's terms. And this is going to be of the three different line equations, so starting amount. We're going to learn three different line equations this chapter. And the y equals mx plus b, the slope-intercept form, is going to be the equation that's easiest to use if you have a starting amount and a slope, how much it goes up or down every time you change x by 1. Alright, so now we have two examples, and that's it for section 1. My first one is just fun. It's a little long, sorry. But last night you dreamt you get $150 for taking this class. Feel free to make it more than $150. And $30 for each assignment you do. Write an equation relating money earned, or M, and assignments done, A. And so I'll give you a second to write that down. You could pause the video. So last night you dreamt you get $150 for taking this class and $30 for each assignment you do. With this, right now you know it's pretty much going to be y equals mx plus b for the equation. But as we get more equations, a couple more later on this chapter, the key that tells you it's going to be that slope-intercept, y equals mx plus b, is that you have this starting amount, that you have $150 as your initial condition or your starting amount. Even though we have different variables, I'm maybe going to write out y equals mx plus b. And first we just need to figure out, well, what's x and what's y? Is y m, is y a? If you go back to earlier chapters, we said that y is the dependent variable. So does m depend on a or vice versa? So I just say it both ways. Is money earned depend on assignments done? Makes sense. Or is it assignments done depends on money earned? Well, the second way you could try to build a case for it, but really you'd have to decide, it requires a conscious choice where you just more naturally, the money you earn depends on assignments done. So I'm going to put a m in for y, it's my dependent. It's a little confusing now with two m's, but a then is my x value. And I'm just going to leave the m and the b out and put in some numbers. So b then is your starting amount, and your initial amount you get is $150. So you get that just down payment regardless of how much homework you do. So that's going to be B. And then M is going to be the 30. Which if you think about that, hopefully it makes sense logically. You get $150 if you do 0 assignments. 30 times 0 plus 150 gives you 150. If you choose to do 2 assignments, well, you get 30 times 2, you get $60 added on, plus your 150 that you started out with. So hopefully the equation makes sense logically for that. The last example then is going to be Claire. Claire sells cars. She gets $30,000 a year plus $250 for each vehicle she sells. Write an equation relating number of vehicles, V, and her salary, S. So Claire sells cars, she gets $30,000 a year plus $250 for each vehicle. I'm going to start out with writing my y equals mx plus b. And now, does the number of vehicles depend on her salary, or does her salary depend on number of vehicles sold? And it'd be the second one. So salary is the dependent. That depends on x, or in this case v, the number of vehicles sold. So we can put in our two variables there, and now we have our slope and our starting amount. So the starting amount is going to be what she makes before selling anything. That's $30,000, which is perhaps a bit high. I don't know, I haven't checked out salary for that kind of job. But then m is her slope, which is connected to v, the number of vehicles. And that logically makes sense that it'd be the 250. That she gets 250 for each vehicle sold, so those two would be connected. And that would be an equation for Claire's salary. That rounds out all the notes for section 1.